the Ingram Micro GITEX 2024 booth. This is the Microsoft Teams podcast booth. Podcast room. And I have with me Moshe Samoa, who is the GM, if you will, the lead for the Middle East for AudioCodes. Now, Moshe, thank you for joining us. Really happy to have you here. AudioCodes is a relatively new vendor to Ingram Micro across the IMP business. And for those that don't know, IMP is our Ingram Micro Pan Europe business, which also covers Middle Eastern contracts as well. So what I think is going to be important to really showcase to our viewers, listeners here is who are AudioCodes? Now, they may seem like they've just come into the marketplace lately with Microsoft Teams Rooms devices or with cameras and nooks that sort of help that functionality. But actually, AudioCodes have been around for a very long time, haven't you? You've got a heritage in a number of different areas, which I believe adds a lot more value than your standard Johnny-come-lately MTR device manufacturer. Can you explain a little bit around that?
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for hosting me. So AudioCodes is new with Ingram, but we are in the market for more than 30 years, 31 years actually. The company started its way as a software company, developing algorithms for voice over IP.
Okay.
And you can also see it from the name of AudioCodes.
Makes sense, right? Yeah, that's good.
When I was younger, so I was in charge of developing codecs for fax. So now, in these days, there is no more fax.
Right.
But back then, 25 years ago, this was my job, developing VoIP codecs. The company passed a few generations since then. Okay, so it started from algorithms, then it moved to chips, from chips to blades, from blades to systems, and now we are doing a whole set of solutions for telephone. One of them is the MTR, it's the Microsoft Teams Rooms. It is only one of the legs that one of the pillars that AudioCodes is standing on. AudioCodes, and if I would look at our main advantages, unique advantages, uniqueness in the market. It's not just another MTR vendor. This is important to understand. We bring, of course, we have the AV, the MTR. Together with that, we bring also the UC, the unified communication.
Yeah.
Connecting between different networks. In past, this was connecting between VoIP, PSTN to telephony. Today is connecting between different voice over IP networks. Microsoft is the main one, but it's also Zoom, Cisco, and others. So we have the AV, we have the UC, and on top of that we have applications such as contact center, compliance recording, and so on. So there are many, as you said, there are many MTR vendors. Many of them are very, very good, with a lot of experience. But the uniqueness of AudioCodes is that under one umbrella, we bring all the different components that are related to voice and telephone.
This is really important, obviously, because to have that expertise in all those disciplines and to be able to bring it together adds so much more value to the integration partner and to the customer consuming the technology as well, because they can rely on a very seamless interaction between one area and another, one platform and the other. I think that when I speak to partners, they're often disillusioned sometimes by the lack of further progress in terms of what they see as the sort of the three pillars as such in terms of what they require from a Teams Rooms practice, so that their co-sale business essentially, which is that they require the devices, they require telephony, and then also require the services side of things. Now, the services side of things, the resellers got wrapped up very, very neatly. The devices, there's an ecosystem of device manufacturers out there, some better than others, but generally, for the most part, most of them respectable and can do a very adequate job in terms of providing a Microsoft Teams Room solution, which you would expect, obviously, because they've been certified to do so. Where I think the value lies with AudioCodes and resellers, and correct me if I'm wrong here, obviously, this is a safe space for you to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, it's that interaction with telephony. So you can go from a Teams rooms practice, you can go through to a Microsoft Teams calling practice, and you can have all of that ecosystem add into that the contact center and other aspects of the software platforms that you guys provide. And you've got an extremely powerful proposition as a resale partner to be able to take to market and to be able to build a business around, which offers so much more than just a meeting room practice as such or a meeting room discipline.
So, Carlos, you are touching a very important part. It's actually part of the UC, the Unified Communication pillar that I mentioned, connecting between the MTR to the actual telephony. Telephony is a PSTN or the wire themselves, yes, the legacy telephony. We know how to bring the MTR and connect it to the telephone.
Yeah.
Now, it can be legacy telephony, but it can be also the new generation of telephone. Yes, it can be the Microsoft Teams direct routing, yes, or their calling plan. We know how to integrate these different components and seamlessly connect. So when working with AudioCode solutions, on one hand, again, you have the MTRs, which is the basics, yes, but you know how to connect these MTRs also to the PSTN, to the telephony network.
Which is good. I like that. And the fact that it's obviously there for consumption is very important. And it's all under one roof as well. So
Exactly.
Ingram Micro are very happy to be partnered with AudioCode actually, because you add an additional element that we're not getting from many of our other vendors. That's phenomenal for a distributor like ourselves, who we pride ourselves on having a much more value proposition for our customers. To have more strings to our bow, more feathers in our cap, as the expressions say, is incredibly powerful. You know, it's a very rich proposition then that we offer to our partners, and of course it allows them to grow their business and scale accordingly. So, I'm right in saying you're exhibiting at GITEX this year. Is there anything interesting, new that maybe might see the light of day at GITEX, or that we may have seen before but hasn't really been talked about?
I think that you cannot have a discussion with a partner or with a customer without mentioning AI.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think under Microsoft law, we have to mention it 13 times a session. So otherwise, one of us is fired.
So AI, it's our focus. It was our focus in 2024. It's going to be even more our focus in next year. And this trend is going to touch each and every AudioCode solutions. It's going to be also implemented as part of our MTR strategy for next year. We already this year we have a layer of application, AR application, that we are deploying over let's say the hardware, the MTR hardware, yes, which is used to record the call, transcript it, summarize it using one of the Gen AI applications, and distribute this summary between the participants of the meeting. So think about your mails. And I can access my mails from 5 years ago and see exactly what I wrote to my colleague. I cannot go two weeks back and see what I did in my meeting.
I can't go 2 days ago and figure out what I sent as an email, Moshe, to be honest with you. So to say you can go 5 years back and do that, it's a phenomenal feature, right? And something like that saves so much time. And I think this is the key benefit of AI, isn't it? People are always fearful of AI to begin with.
Exactly.
I mentioned this in previous podcasts. But actually, as we learn to grow with AI, utilize it as a tool that it was always meant to be, we find that improvements to our workflow, improvements to our productivity, such as this, being able to reference information at a drop of a hat, which otherwise would have taken us, possibly hours, if not longer, or maybe not even found it. I've been there myself before, where I've had to look for some sort of evidence, and it happened to be on an email somewhere, and it happened to be over a year ago. Do you think I can find it? Not a chance.
No chance.
No chance. So this is invaluable.
Yes. With regards to AI, I heard people are concerned that the AI will replace them. Yes.
Yeah.
I heard something interesting recently that AI will not, maybe will replace, maybe not, but for sure it will replace the people that are not using AI. Okay. So
Absolutely.
people that are using AI will replace those that are not using AI.
Yeah.
This is a very, very important tool that we need to make sure that we are leveraging to enhance our efficiency. So having it as part of our solution in the MTR domain, I believe that it brings the MTR to the next level. Not just the hardware, the microphone, the speaker, and the camera. It gives you a layer of application that makes our life much more easier and help us manage all these back-to-back meetings every day.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? Productivity beyond the meeting room space. And it's actually the meeting room space that is the principal driver for adoption of AI in most businesses. Because that's the one area where people are still very unproductive. Lots of people go into a meeting room space. So say you have 10 people in a meeting room, you've got a lack of productivity to the power of 10, potentially.
It's so true.
It's exactly that, right?
So
So
true.
this is where we can gain so much more from those types of interactions. And whether they are 10 people that are there or 5 people that are there and 5 people remoted, actually to be able to capture that and then follow up in real time and instantly, more importantly, not just real time, but instantly, is so powerful a tool for us to be embracing. Like you say, it's those people that don't embrace AI that will be left behind, and there will be natural attrition, as there has been with every technology that's ever been conceived from the Industrial Revolution onwards. That there will be certain roles that we've made obsolete because of the efficiencies of the new technology. AI will be no exception to that. It'll be the next iteration along. But I think, like you say, the people that refuse to adopt and embrace AI are the ones that are in the danger zone, so to speak.
They believe behind us. Yes, I totally agree with you. And the ability to adapt the AI to the specific needs of the company is also very, very important. It's not one general AI. Okay, you need to know how to take it and adapt it for meeting rooms, how to adapt it for your sales team, how to adapt it for the management. Okay. So I will give you an example. For the management, they don't want to listen to the entire discussion that was going on for the annual sales meeting. I don't know, for a whole day. They want to see the summary of them, but the bottom line. So
they're very busy. They need to crack on with things.
Yes. In many companies, you are working with regions that are not in the same time zone as you. Okay? So you won't be able to attend all the meetings. You need an efficient tool that will be in these meetings instead of you. Okay, listen to the calls, summarize it for you, and once the meeting is finished, we'll send you the summary of the meeting. Okay? So you will be able to follow up later the next day. And these are actual capabilities that we didn't have before. Having these new features on top of AudioCode's MTRs brings a real differentiator to our customers, a real value to our customers.
That's very true. And I think this is the whole point, right? This is why we're here, to talk about that difference. We could have invited 10 other manufacturers to come and talk about their MTR devices. But the reason I invited AudioCode, yourself, Moshe, is because you offer those different propositions. It's actually a lot more value than it's just scratching the surface. But it needs to be seen. There needs a conversation to be had with you, your team, and so on. And obviously, I would encourage that to any one of the viewers or listeners on this podcast. And because I think what you offer, sometimes it's difficult for people to wrap their heads around if they haven't moved from just a pure devices practice into something bigger, and they're in the process of doing that. Sometimes it can be quite daunting. You might not know where to start. So actually speaking with a manufacturer like yourselves, who has all these additional disciplines, which actually are quite complementary to other vendors, in fact. So whether they consume your hardware as such, you can still bolt on the other services, right? So actually you're in a very good position compared to many others. And I think this is the value that you represent to a lot of the partners, and certainly the end users who are consuming this technology, because you have that wraparound solution. So for me, you're I guess going down a very interesting path with what you've got. And it's inevitable that the calling side of things is going to become bigger and bigger as time goes on. You can see that, especially with the onset of AI, making the functionality around that space much more interesting and much more effective.
Yes.
So for our partners, I think it'd be interesting to understand what kind of structure you have in this territory, in the Middle East generally. Obviously, just for information's sake, you're an Israeli business, headquartered in Israeli, but obviously you've got a lot of different offices around the world. So what does AudioCode Middle East look like in a very brief synopsis? I appreciate quite a deep perspective there.
Thank you for your question. So AudioCode is actually a global company. Okay, it's a global company. We are traded in Nasdaq, as I said. for many, many years now. Uh, Most of our business, to be honest with you, is in North America.
Okay. I did not know that actually. Yeah, it's good.
But we are investing a lot of resources to extend our business also in this region, and this is the reason why I'm here. Okay, we are building the network of partners. Okay. Probably one of the main ones is Ingram. It's us taking a global partner that we have a very strong relations with them in Europe and in other regions, and bring them or leverage this partnership to develop new mutual business in this region. So if you ask me about our plans for the Middle East, for the GCC, our plans is to extend our footprint together with strong partners like Ingram.
Okay. Well, that couldn't have said any better, really. I'll be honest with you. From an Ingram perspective, that's I think that's a mic drop, isn't it? Literally, they call that. So no, that's good. But we're very thrilled to have AudioCode as a vendor on our portfolio. You really complement what we're offering, and I think obviously from that perspective, Moshe, really like to thank you for your time today. Hopefully, you've enjoyed being in our podcast room, sponsored by Microsoft Teams rooms. I'm really impressed with what the team have done this year. Actually, it's been quite interesting, and as these things always are, very last minute. You can imagine they were up until beyond midnight yesterday trying to get everything finalized. But it looks a really good space.
Very, very impressive booth, very strategic location, hall number 1. So,
That's it. You've got to start somewhere, right? Most people start at 1. Exactly that. So, Moshe, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate your candor and your insight into the AudioCodes business. And I hope that partners out there will take a look at AudioCodes in a very serious way. Those that are looking to develop their modern workplace practice, not just in the meeting room, but beyond the meeting room. They're probably the best manufacturer out there to be speaking to right now.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Thank you.